Which two canon characters can make the strongest fusion ever? We could just slap any two strong characters together and say, yeah, that's a strong fusion. But no, we're going deeper than that. We're not just combining your DeviantArt with Zeno, and we're not just going to simply say combine Cooliza and Vegito, or something ridiculous like that. We're going to see what two individual characters could make the true strongest fusion, a fusion that could actually exist in canon. The answer isn't so clear-cut there. First, let's look at the different types of fusion and their benefits. We'll only use the Metamoran fusion dance and the Potara earrings. I know Namekian fusion's a thing too, but that's only going to work with Namekians, so no point covering that here. Picking apart Metamoran fusion and Potara fusion kind of requires its own video, but at the same time I sort of have to cover it here because it's important for this video. So let's start with the fusion dance. Like any fusion, it multiplies your power. It requires the users to know a dance, it lasts for 30 minutes, and the two fusees need a similar height and a similar power. Goku and Vegeta have a height difference, but I'm guessing someone like Piccolo and Krillin can't fuse, for example. And as for the matched power part, a stronger person can fuse with a weaker person by lowering their power. As long as you adjust it to match, it's fine. It's not clear if this also suppresses the fusion's power too, or it's just required for the dance. As far as I could find, there's no clear statement on that. There is also a misconception that this fusion can't be drained by using too much energy, but Gotenks also did shorten his fusion time by using Super Saiyan 3. It is also worth noting that Super Saiyan 3 has the inherent flaw of doing that. So maybe it's just because of Super Saiyan 3, or maybe it actually can be drained like Potara fusion. You also have to remember when Vegito's fusion ran out in the Goku Black arc, he went all out right from the start and didn't realize it would run out. The outcome could be completely different now, especially with the volatility of Super Saiyan Blue at that point in the story, compared to now. Now onto Potara fusion. Thankfully this has more info on it. Potara is greater than the sum of its fusees, just like the fusion dance. We actually have Vados saying that it's greater than the sum of its parts and then multiply by tens of times. It's also worth noting that despite not being said anywhere in the current anime, the same exact thing is said about Gogeta in the GT Perfect files. Pretty much verbatim the same thing Vados said about Potara. Potara fusion lasts an hour for mortals and is permanent for Kais, and we do know for a fact it can be drained if you use too much energy, and seemingly breaking the earrings will also cause it to defuse. It also can be done by anyone, regardless of differences in height or power. So now the question everyone always debates over, which one is better? The answer isn't really too clear-cut because most of the sources are from outside of the series itself, which is why I plan on making a completely separate video from this. But let's go over some of them. For one, Elder Kai states Potara fusion's better. Also, it's confirmed twice that this has a rival boost, within the actual story itself, not from external sources. Elder Kai said this with Vegito, and it was stated with the hypothetical Android 35 in the Tournament of Power as well, which would have been a fusion between 17 and 18. The fusion dance might very well get a rival boost too, but it's never been confirmed. With Potara fusion, we know for a fact that it does get that. Plus, one other point, Merge Zamasu got a huge boost in power after fusing, despite how weak Zamasu was in comparison to Goku Black. This could be for a multitude of reasons, even simply just for raising the stakes, but it's also not unlikely that it's due to their perfect compatibility, given the fact that they're basically the same person. We also have Buhan, with the knowledge of the fusion dance, also having literally absorbed a fusion before, stating that a fusion of Goku and Vegeta couldn't beat him. This might just be hyperbolic, but worth mentioning because there's a chance he's also being literal, and assuming how strong a hypothetical Gogeta might be. As for external sources, such as Daizenshu and Shozensu, there's multiple statements saying Potara is better, but also a weekly jump statement implies Gogeta is stronger and Vegeta would just win by outlasting him. And then we have a more recent statement from Weekly Jump in 2018 stating that fusions are equally matched trump cards. Your interpretation of this might vary, it could imply equal strength, but based on other translations of it and my own research, it seems to imply that they're equally valid responses to a threat rather than actually equal in power. But remember, these are supplemental sources, never in the actual manga or anime. Thanks to Herms98 for this thread on it too. It'll be linked in the description. If you'd like a more in-depth video picking apart each method of fusion, let me know in the comments. I made one a while ago, but it's very outdated, and probably not even accurate. So taking this, we're going to assume Potara is the stronger fusion. It also does last longer, and there is a confirmed boost due to compatibility. Like, it's flat out stated that you get stronger for more compatibility. That's why Goku and Vegeta work so well together when fusing. Their strength is similar enough, they're both Saiyans, they're longtime rivals which give the boost, etc, etc. Fusions made from some sort of bond have the potential to be more powerful. Now we need some candidates. Of course, Zeno and Zeno is probably the best combo. Perfect compatibility and extreme power, but that's no fun. I will mention too, as for the gods, any angel fusion would be busted. However, anyone fusing with an angel would be useless as a fighter. Angels can't fight, and with the fusion being half angel, the fusion might just cease to exist, or at least half of it will cease to exist, creating a Merge Zamasu corruption situation. So while we have Whirus in some video games for example, and obviously him being the strongest fusion in Universe 7, realistically, he wouldn't be able to fight in the actual story. Same for any other fusion involving angels, including the Grand Priest himself. So next, let's go to the Gods of Destruction. I think undoubtedly the best God of Destruction fusion would be Champa and Beerus. I did make a video before covering Beerus' strength. He's one of the strongest, if not the strongest God of Destruction. And on top of that, fusing with Champa is great because they're twins, and seemingly rivals to an extent. Their compatibility should be amazing. The other Gods of Destruction all seem to be really petty to each other and maybe not too friendly. there are actually some rivalries, like Beerus and Kitella. But as far as we know, these people actually just hate each other, which is funny to think about. Especially before the Tournament of Power, they're all kind of assholes to each other beforehand. The closest we get to any sort of bond is Beerus and Champa. Yes, they're not on the best terms, but we know for a fact they are rivals. They've fought before. They're always competing with each other, and they're brothers. Twin brothers. So not only are they boosted by being rivals, they're boosted by being twins. 17 and 18 apparently would have gotten a boost by being related, and presumably just due to the fact that they're twins. Plus, Champa on his own is actually pretty damn strong too. Sure, he's not as strong as Beerus, especially with Vados even confirming he's out of shape, but he contended with him in battle before, in the manga at least. And they've had a legitimate rivalry that's lasted for millions of years, with part of that being a physical rivalry. It's tough to place his exact power, but he should be on the stronger end of gods based on his comparison to Beerus alone. On top of that, we know for a fact that some of the gods, if not most, are already surpassed by some of the mortals in Universe 7. And Beerus is still above them. Beerus is likely at the top of the food chain, and while we don't know Champa's exact strength, he has perfect compatibility with the supposed strongest god of destruction. So, due to a combination of us not knowing the exact order in which the gods scale, the fact that they're not compatible, and the fact that multiple gods are probably already surpassed by mortals already, their fusions by default wouldn't be the strongest. So, let's do this. At the top, we have Merged Zeno. Below that, Champa and Beerus. I feel pretty safe saying these are the top two fusions. Then we have a vague tier of gods of destruction, with different mixes and matches of them fusing below that. They're probably pretty strong, but due to a lack of compatibility, I doubt they'd be on the level of Sharis, which is the name I'd give this one. It's also worth noting Zeno's attendants might be pretty strong too, but we know nothing about them, so they're excluded due to a lack of concrete info. By the way, drop a like if you want to see more videos like this, since this is different from my usual format. Subscribe while you're at it too. But now onto the mortals. Of course, it's best if we focus on the upper echelon of Universe 7, and look at who we currently know there. We still have yet to see some of the other universes again, so we can't know how strong these people have grown. But there's two in particular that we will mention. So first, Universe 7 itself. We have Goku, Vegeta, Broly, Gohan, Piccolo, and Frieza, the six regarded as the strongest in Universe 7 right now, with Frieza obviously being the strongest. Granola's probably up there too, but we don't know what's happened with him. By this point, he's nearing death, so he could be rapidly aging, or maybe he just reversed the wish. So he gets to live, but now he doesn't have that power anymore. Again, too much uncertainty there, so we ignore him. The other two I wanted to bring up are Jiren and Toppo, two of the strongest from another universe, and they should be pretty compatible too. Jiren definitely has grown much stronger, especially after what Goku taught him in the Tournament of Power, and likely has formed more of a bond with Toppo by now. Combined with the fact that both of them are heroes of justice on the same squad, this fusion would be devastatingly powerful, as well as probably really compatible too, especially with Toppo's God of Destruction powers on top of what Jiren already has in raw strength. Jirpo? Toprin? It would have a pretty disgusting name though. Anyways, back to the six people I listed before. Here's what I think might be most compatible between them. Obviously, Goku and Vegeta. They're proven to be strong together, so it's really safe to just put Vegito right here, especially at this current point. Now, one thing I will say is we don't know how their forms will interact. As we saw with Kefla, and with Merged Zamasu as well, fusions can't express the full power of their parts even if they have different forms, which resulted in Kefla having her own basically unique version of Super Saiyan 2. Not as outrageous as Kale's, but still definitely influenced by it somewhat. But as for Goku and Vegeta, their top two forms, Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct, they're kind of contradictory. So could these two powers be combined? I don't think so. Vegito could probably at least use Hakai's while using Ultra Instinct, but unless Goku gets complete control over Ultra Instinct and lets his emotions work for that form, the two forms probably can't be combined together, due to the contradictory mindsets needed for both of them. This also kind of applies to the next fusion, Goku and Gohan. Ever since the Buu Saga when they were about to fuse, a ton of people have wanted to see a Goku and Gohan fusion, a combination of the strongest father and son duo. And yeah, the fusion would be pretty impressive. Although, kind of like what I said with Vegito, this fusion, who we'll call Gokhan for now, he won't be able to combine Beast with Ultra Instinct, for the same reason I said for Vegito. Gohan just told us in the recent chapter that this form's power is derived from Rage, so until Goku can completely control his Rage and Ultra Instinct, the two can't be combined. But Gokhan should be able to use each individually, just like Vegito using Ultra Instinct or Ultra Ego individually. So how about someone who actually can work with Rage? Combining Broly and Gohan. This fusion would have a lot of raw power to begin with, and with both getting power from Rage, this could push the fusion even further. The two have only just met each other, so we don't know if it's really compatible, but at least we know that when both of them are using their full power, it's not like either of them contradict each other. These two would work in harmony. And then we have another option, fusing Goku with Broly. This one should be pretty compatible given their relationship. Same for a hypothetical Vegeta and Broly fusion. Vegeta might be able to tame the power of Broly better, given the fact that Ultra Ego probably would work better with Broly's Rage. A Goku and Broly fusion would at least tame that power somewhat, but I don't think it would make use of it as much as Vegeta and Broly would together. Another really good combination could be Gohan and Piccolo, a master and student fusion with access to the great raw power of Gohan as well as all the weird abilities Piccolo has as a Namekian. Especially with Piccolo's recent power-up, this would be a really potent fusion, and definitely should be one of the more compatible fusions that I've listed here. considering the history these two have. And then finally, Goku and Piccolo. These two have been longtime rivals. Their rivalry runs so deep that they've killed each other before. Goku killed King Piccolo, and Piccolo killed Goku. That's a real rivalry right there. This one could work pretty well. What about a fusion with Frieza though? Well, he's not really compatible with anyone here. At best, we could say maybe he'd work well with Vegeta and Ultra Ego, but then again, Vegeta hates him. I think if we just look at raw stats, but Frieza would just get the standard fusion boost and wouldn't get any boost beyond that due to compatibility because he's not compatible with anyone. Also, Potara fusions could actually debuff people. We don't know for certain, but Goku thought that maybe fusing with Dende or Mr. Saiyan would actually lower his power. But this is never confirmed and only shown in external sources. So if a weak fusee can cause a weak fusion, that would mean there are debuffs with Potara sometimes. So if you combine two people that aren't compatible, what if there's a potential for a debuff? Just as there's the rival boost, an incompatibility debuff. Of course, there's nothing to support that, just my headcanon, but worth throwing out there. From a raw strength standpoint, of the mortal fusions, one between Frieza and Gohan or Frieza and Vegeta would probably be the best, just due to Frieza's raw power alone, and the fact that his personality won't inhibit the max power of those two, with Beast and Ultra Ego. Although, we don't know what his 10 years of training entailed, especially after we saw him doing mental training before the Tournament of Power, getting better control of his golden form that way. So maybe he would actually be compatible with Ultra Instinct. And that would make the fusion of him and Goku really strong too because he could use Ultra Instinct to his fullest. In that scenario, it wouldn't be limiting Goku's strongest forms. And maybe he'll work with Broly's power to some extent, but those two have to hate each other. So definitely not compatible in the slightest. Point being, any fusion with Frieza would probably be strong by default just because of Frieza's raw stats. But it would be the most basic fusion, it would just be slapping two strong people together. There'd probably be no harmony in the fusion, and probably no boost on top of the regular fusion boost. But let me know what you think below. If there's some other combination I should have covered, do you think any of these would be stronger than I'm giving credit for? I'm curious, so let me know below. And, as usual, since this is kind of a power scaling video, be civil in the comments. I know how this can get. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.